Hi, my name is Crystal. I'm originally from Elkton, Maryland. I moved to St. Louis, Metro East area about 11, 12 years ago with my wife and children. And right now I'm living on the streets of Granite.
Describe your childhood growing up.
I had a rough childhood. I was in Louisiana and grew up with my cousins until about the age of 3. Um, my biological mother, Dolores, she gave me up for adoption to my Aunt Lane and Uncle Buddy. And that's when I moved to Elkton, Maryland. And that's where I was raised. Um, I was molested as a child, um, uh, kidnapped, and forced to do some things. And my mom got me back. Um, my dad was an alcoholic, and he used to hit my mom. I'm uncomfortable talking about them, but I just wanted to let it be known because it's not okay. But I did have good parents. Like, my dad did provide for our family, and my mom did provide, and it was better than the situation that I was in because my biological mother was on drugs, and it happens, and we're not perfect. And I love my parents, and they're gone now. So I'm an orphan. Um, I was a good kid. I had a lot of dreams and ambitions. And it didn't work out that way, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Um, I was an honor roll student. Um,
What schools did you attend?
I attended Holly Hall Elementary. I'll never forget my first grade teacher, Mrs. Ron. Um, and I went to Elkton Middle. And um, it was a good school. Elkton, Maryland's really one of the best places that I had grew up in. And I went to Elkton High School. I attended Cecil Community College for a semester of nursing. I dropped out when my mom died. I was done with the medical field. Um, I had dreams and ambitions on being a doctor. I was in accelerated classes, and I dropped out my 11th grade year because me and my mom had gotten into a fight because she caught me smoking. And I had HPV, I had cervical cancer cells. And I wasn't supposed to be smoking, and she caught me smoking, and she punched me in my face and told me to get out of her house. And honestly, when I got to the age of 17, she always threatened to throw me out of the house, you know what I mean? But I see now it was more like, you don't want to live by my rules, then get out of my house, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't going to deal with my bullshit. And I left, and that's when I met David's dad, Paulie.
And for the people who don't know who David is, who is David?
David is my son. He stays on the streets with me in Granite. He's done an interview before. I'm sure he's talked about me. And it's okay. I've put him through some things, and we're working on it. Like, we're working on it. Like, we probably both need to see a therapist.
Do you have any other kids?
I do. I have 2 other ones. I have a son that's Trevor. He's in Louisiana right now with my aunt. I signed over guardianship to her for the school year because I'm going through some things and trying to keep him in school so he gets socialized and, he gets his education. And I have a little girl named Olivia. I don't know where she's at. My wife has blocked me. I feel like I'm being punished because I want to get my life together. I'm sober, and I think that I just want the best outcome for her, you know what I mean? And I miss her. Yeah, she was given to us. And she's a very important, special little girl.
How long have you been married, and describe your marriage?
Um, my I have been married since June 25th of 2016. My dad, before my dad passed away, actually told my wife to please marry me, which was crazy because my parents weren't for the LGBT. You know what I mean? They weren't for that. And I remember when I came out as gay, I told my cousin, and she was my cousin Destiny, and I love her. Like, she's my favorite person in the whole entire world. She's my rock. And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm positive." And she's like, and then my dad called me up and he's like, "So I hear you like girls." And I was like, "Dad, don't you start with me." I said, "This is my business. Stay out of my business." And he's like, "Sissy, if that's your bag of potatoes, honey, that's your bag of potatoes. You know, just do whatever you want." And I introduced him to my wife when she finally came to Maryland, and he was happy for me, and she told him to marry me. So we got married. He died in February of 2016, and she married me that June. And we've been together for 10 years. We're separated right now. We've been separated since December last year.
What caused the relationship to go sour?
Drugs. Before I met Robin, I was clean. I'd never even been to a bar. I think maybe at one time. Like I said, I grew up. My dad was an alcoholic, so I really looked down on dope fiends. You know what I mean? Like, I looked at them like they were the scum of the world. You know what I mean? And she came along, and she had a drug habit in her past. But
what habits are we talking about? Like, what are we dealing with?
She had we had a fentanyl and meth addiction, and that started when probably back in, I want to say like 2019, like right around 2020, when everything started to go south in the world. And we really we had been separated, and she came back. Her daughter had started selling, and when she came back, she was on it. So I tried it, and I obviously liked it, so I kept doing it.
What did you like about it? We hear so much, not to cut you, but it's like we hear so much negative, dangerous, cautionary tales about fentanyl and meth. Like, so what would cause one to be curious to try it? Like, because all you hear on TV is how dangerous and how poisonous this substance is. So walk us through how you got introduced to it. And
okay, well, back in 2015 and 2016, I went to the doctors, and my cervical cancer was back. So they were wanting to do a hysterectomy, and I was in a lot of pain, so they prescribed me some pain medication. And that's how my pill addiction started, on Percocets. And honestly, I took my medication probably more than I was supposed to, and that curbed my dopamine, which is, you know, what fills drugs, food, everything affects your dopamine. So my dopamine got affected because of it, and I liked it. At that time, I got off of pills when my dad died. It was painful, and I don't want to glorify it, because I don't want children to see this and think that it's okay, because it's not. It's dangerous. You lose your life from it. Honestly, why I did it at the time, I was thinking, wow, I'm cleaning my house. You know, I'm doing this better. You know, I'm focused more. Like, that's at the time, that's what I was thinking. You know, I didn't see the destruction that was coming, and, you know, the aftermath of it, you know. So, I had my daughter in 2017. That's when they took my uterus, and I had gotten clean, and I stayed clean we both did, for a few years. And like, I want to say we were like the typical lesbian household, you know, the ones that people were rooting for. Like, everybody was like, you know, you guys are an amazing couple, and we strive to be you know what I mean? we had a good relationship, but you know, we let our habit come in between that. I tried ice with her, and it felt euphoria, you know, like my, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was like, it's like your mind goes blank and you have no problems. You know what I mean? And that's one of my problems, is I always run from my problems. And I kept using because, like I said, I was up cleaning my house. I was taking care of my kids. I was doing what I thought I needed to do, and I wasn't tired because I was always tired. Like, I'm a very depressed individual. I have suicidal tendencies. You know what I mean? And they made it feel better. They masked all the pain from my childhood, from being molested, from being beat on, you know. My family being broken apart, losing my mom, losing my dad, you know.
The kidnapping situation,
Mm-hmm.
how, if you care to share, how did that come about, and how long did you have to endure that ordeal?
I can only share as much as I remember. Like, I guess my mind kind of like blocked a lot. Like, now that I'm getting older and I'm going through some things, like I'm having flashbacks and remembering. But I believe, I don't know if we were in Louisiana or Pennsylvania when it happened. This is when I was still with my birth mom. I remember a lady finding me on the streets, and I was butt-ass naked. And I was saying that I just want to go with my brother. I just want to go with my brother. Like, he had went somewhere and she had found me. And then as I'm getting older, like remembering, like, having to do things to other children in front of, like, adults. So, that's what I'm remembering. And I don't remember, like, I remember this older lady finding me. And she's like, "Where do you live?" And I don't even know how I got back home. Like, how they managed to find my birth mom or anything. Like, I don't even know. I want to say my brother was not in on it, but he was affected by it. And he's in prison right now. I wish I could ask him more about it, because now that I am getting older and things are starting to come to me, like, it scares me, like, what I'd went through, you know what I mean? But that's basically all I really remember about it. I don't know how long I was gone for. I don't know. You know, a lot of that has been blocked out.
What brought you to Illinois?
Robin.
Your wife?
Yep, my wife. Yep, she was, she came to Maryland with me, and then, we ended up leaving our home and coming out here we went to Sullivan, Missouri, where her daughter was. You know, so she could be closer to her family, because I'd already lost my mom and dad, you know what I mean? And I really felt like, because they were gone, Elkton was no longer home. You know, I know different now. Like, I'd give anything to be in Elkton, Maryland, helping with the streets, cleaning them up, you know, because my childhood hometown is just ravaged by heroin and fentanyl, you know, and it's sad.
How has your addiction affected your relationship with your children?
Oh, my 14-year-old doesn't talk to me at all. He feels like all I ever, can I vape in here? He feels like all I ever want to do is just run off and use, and, you know, and it's not that. It's not that that's not what I want to do. Like, I want to get my life together, you know what I mean? And I work on that every day. David, David doesn't hate me for it. I think it's made them sad, like, to watch their mom deteriorate, you know what I mean? And some of these things, like, they don't know about me. They don't know about some of the things that I went through that led up to me masking that pain, you know what I mean? Because you really don't know how much your past affects you until you do get older and you do go through things. You know, the stress of life can kill you, you know, and it's not an excuse, but it happens. And I can tell you one thing that's really humbled me. I'm not going to mention their names, but I know somebody, and their child is really close to me. And their mom was a drug addict, and I watched her leave her kids with people, and I had to help take care of them, and I was mad at her for it. I was like, she's just a dope fiend, you know what I mean? She doesn't mean shit. But then I got on drugs, You know what I mean? And I literally had to call this person up and apologize to them because of that. Like, you know, this is what I thought of you, and here I am doing the same thing, and I understand you. Like, I understand the pain of the world that sits it all in motion. You know, the masking and the pain, trying to self-medicate. You know what I mean? Mental health is very important, you know? And that was a very humbling experience to me, to not look down on anybody. Because you don't know what that person has went through to get them there.
If you could speak with your younger self, go back in time, knowing what you know now, what would you tell her?
Stay away from those boys. Stay the hell away from boys. go to school. I really could. My mom tried to tell me that, and I didn't listen to her. She's, you know, that all that could have waited. You know what I mean? Like, my life would have been so different, you know? But I was in a hurry to get my life started, you know. I thought I knew better, you know. And now look at me, you know. I don't want people to look down on me, because I am only human, and you have choices to make. And they say you're given free will, right? So you have your free will to make your choices. And those choices are going to lead you down on a path. You know what I mean? And that path is what is going to make you or break you. And I made my life so hard just by making stupid choices. Like, you know, I mean, I guess in a way I'm happy, because I wouldn't have had my kids the way that I had them if I had stayed in school and graduated. I mean, I dropped out right after my 11th grade year. All I had was one more year left of school. I did go get my GED after I had my son and everything, but that's not the point. Like, that's one thing that I always regret. You know, I even have dreams about it, like walking down a stage to get my high school diploma. Like, that is a milestone that I can never have. You know, I didn't get to go to prom, so that's a milestone that I never had. You know what I mean? And you think about these things later in life. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I don't even get to go to school reunions because I didn't graduate. You know what I mean? And I don't get to see my classmates, you know? I think about them often, and those are some of the things that bother me, you know?
So, moving forward, we went through the decisions that we've made over time, but moving forward, what's the plan to get back on track, if any?
Well, through my addiction, I lost my documentation, my ID, my social security number, my birth certificate. And when I was in rehab, I have asked repeatedly for someone to help me get my birth certificate, because I was born in Germany. So I have an embassy-issued report of birth abroad. And there's specific ways that you have to go about getting that. I can't get an ID unless I have that document. So really, I'm trying to find some U.S. government official that'd be willing to help me get my birth certificate so I can get my life back. All I want is a normal job, you know?
Have you went to any of the Catholic services? Have you went to any shelters? Because they have services that'll assist you in that.
I was stupid in Louisiana. Me and my aunt had gotten into it. I was dating a man. She didn't want me to date him. And I wish I had listened to her. I really wish I had of. And I ended up in a shelter, and they was going to help me get my documentation back, like my birth certificate. I had my ID at the time, but through choices, I would end up losing this ID. Like, you know, it is my fault, but I ended up having a ride came and dropped me back off at the shelter, so me and my kids got kicked out of the shelter. I didn't know that we weren't supposed to get rides back and forth, and so they kicked me out, and that messed that up. I try to convince David to go to St. Vincent de Paul with me. He doesn't want to. He thinks it's easier to be out in the street. And honestly, I just listen to him because of what I put him through.
But somebody has to make that decision to get out of the street, so maybe the other one can look at that one and be motivated to get out of the street as well, because if you're both in the street, then there's no motivation to get out.
Yep, you're exactly right about that. Like, I can't...
And you listening to your child out of guilt is not going to help your child, or you for that matter. So we have to look at the bigger picture and what's more important, listening to my child out of guilt to appease him, but we're hurting each other, or me not listening to my child and getting my documentation so I can get my life back on track, and I can pull my child out of the street and help my child, and that can quell the guilt that you feel by what you've taken them through, taken yourself through. If you pull yourself out, you can pull him out as well. You have a grandbaby on the way.
Yeah, I do, and I'm trying to, at this point, I take it one day at a time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to stay clean. There's days that I don't want to. Like, I just want to give up, like, and give up on myself because of certain shit that I went through in Louisiana and Mississippi. But I'm like, you got a grandbaby on the way, and you're not even prepared for it. Like, this, he's not prepared for it, you know, and that does bother me. And what you said is correct. Like, I have no excuse to not be putting my foot down and being like, David, no, this is what I'm going to do, because one of us have to be prepared. You're exactly right.
You need to go to those Catholic services and tell them your situation, and I'm sure they'll help you. They will help you.
Okay.
But you have to want to go. If you don't want to go, if you're not ready, that's cool.
I had went over there one time, and the way that they made it sound like that is like they wouldn't be able to do it. Like, they're like, well, we don't know about that. Like, I mean,
did they tell you no?
No, they didn't say no.
As long as you didn't hear no, it's a chance.
You're right.
How they made it sound and a no are two totally different things. You have to understand that you're not going to hear what you want to hear. You're going to hear what you need to hear, and if that's enough to deter you, then that means you're not ready. And you have to be ready. You got a grandbaby on the way. You got a kid. It's so much stuff going on that should be kind of like, you know what, somebody has to get it together. For whatever reason, you have to understand that time is not waiting on any of us.
No, it's not.
You know, and the longer you out here, the harder it is to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because you get comfortable. He's not even 21 years old, and he's saying it's easier on the street. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I know that some people choose to be homeless, like some people don't. Like, but street life is harder than what you think it is. Like, some of us are not choosing it. Some of us literally want and need to come up. Like, and like, I'm a very spiritual person, and I don't mean to get religious on anybody, but like, I had God touch my mind while I was in Louisiana, okay? And like, I have felt Jesus around me at certain times when I was being attacked, you know what I mean? Spiritually attacked. And that is my one motivation for coming up, because I don't think his plan for me is to live on the streets. I think that he knows that I am having a grandbaby, and that David's having a baby, and one of us needs to get up on our feet. And he has put things right in front of me, and I still like have made a choice to either not follow it or follow it, and it's stupid of me. You know what I mean? That's all.
What kind of life is it already for the baby if the dad is comfortable with being on the street? What are you going to teach the baby, and how fair is it to the baby? And you have to understand that not only is God around you during times of, you know, craziness, but he keeps waking you up and he keeps protecting you. You have a deadly addiction that he keeps you alive from. It's a lot of people you've seen pass. Yep. I'm sure you have. So it's like the fact that you keep playing with this is God. He's real. His influence is real. His protection is real. Yeah, but at the same time, when are we going to pay attention to the fact that he has his hands around you for a reason, and he's trying to protect you from yourself, but you are determined to destroy yourself, and not only yourself, but your children, your grandchildren. We gotta turn it around. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's like,
no, what you say makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of like this. Like, you go and I've already made those choices, so I can't take back nothing that I've done in the past. All I can do is feel guilty for it, feel ashamed for it, whatever. But now I'm at a place where I want to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get on my feet. I want to have a house. Like, I want normal things in life. You know what I mean? And it's just like, how? But like you said, I have to be self-motivated. Like, I have to go to Catholic charities. I have these things that I need to do. You know what I mean? And
they're not going to tell you no.
And David was looking up people on the sex offender list, looking at things that they'd done at the library, and or looking different people that we were around up, you know, seeing what they were charged with, you know what I mean, like their backgrounds. And he was seeing that they're dangerous, and I'm like, yes, David, the streets are dangerous. You meet a lot of dangerous people, you know what I mean? Like, these streets are not kind. They're not nice, and you have to be careful. Like, you have to stand on guard, and that's not a life that I want to live. Like, I don't want to have to watch my back 24/7 and worry about if the person that just shook my hand is going to stab me in it later. You know what I mean? Like,
the same effort that he's spending looking up people, he can be filling out job applications to get his life on track. He's only 18 years old, and if that's what you want to spend your life doing, you focused on the wrong things. And you got a baby on the way, and that's what you're worried about. You're not worried about your baby being born out here on the streets. You're not worried about we focus on things that take our minds off of things that we should be focused on.
With David, when he was younger, David had a lot of mental health issues. I don't want to go into detail because that's his business, you know what I mean? But he ended up getting SSI. I was able to go to the Social Security office with him and help him get it turned back on. And I was grateful for that because at least he has money coming in. But I try to tell him all the time, like, that's chump change, you know what I mean? Like, you can make more than that. Like, people were like, Crystal, you could get a check now. I don't necessarily want their government check. Like, I want to work. Like, I'm a registered medical assistant, for crying out loud. I have an associate's of science in medical coding and billing, and I was a CNA. You know how long I've been in the healthcare field? You know what I mean? I know if I clear my past up, I could get another good job. You know what I mean? And I could make that money. I'm able and I'm capable. You know what I mean? It's just getting there. And I don't know if it's because I'm scared or if I'm just stupid.
What are you scared of?
Being told no.
Okay, but you're not scared of being on the street. Make it make sense.
Yeah. I am scared to be on the street. My biggest fear has came true, sir. Like,
we have to put it on the scale, like, and you have to understand that out of your mouth, the power of the tongue. So it's like your biggest fears, now you're living them. Why don't you put goals and your dreams in your head so you can start moving towards those? Because it's so easy to wish bad on ourselves. We our own worst enemy. That's what we do, and I understand that. Like, we have to really work on that because it's a subconscious thing. But instead of wishing bad on your life, why don't you start, if you believe in a higher power, put your faith in him, but also your faith in yourself. And to worry is to sin. So if you're worried, that means you don't have faith.
You're right. Honestly, my mind wanders a lot, and I have trouble focusing, and some of it may be due to my addiction, but a lot of it was because I had like 3 nervous breakdowns. And I'm getting to the point to where I can now think forward, like think about, like you said, think about the goals that I need to do. I'm not making an excuse for myself at all. I'm just trying to tell you what some of the things that I went through. Like, I had my wife sometimes isn't so nice, and she's done some things that has caused me to literally break down and end up in the mental hospital. And but you're right. I really do need to focus on my dreams and ambitions and stop worrying about other people and what they're going through.
Because they're not worried about you.
Yep.
And unless, in closing, if you want to say anything to anybody who may be looking for you, who may be worried about you, who may be wondering if you're okay, now's the time to say it.
Destiny, I'm doing all right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did this to us. Patches, I'm sorry. I can never say sorry enough. David, I'm sorry. Trevor, I'm sorry. Olivia, I'm sorry. I am so sorry that this is a path that I led down, and it's caused us to be where we are and where we're at. Olivia, I don't know where you're at, but I hope you're okay and I hope you're safe. I miss you with all my heart. Destiny, I miss you. I'm trying to wake up and do the right thing every day, and it's harder than I thought. I'm clean, and for you guys, I'd do anything.
We appreciate you, Miss Crystal, for sitting down with us and sharing. And,
Thank you.
We wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you.